importantly, everybody celebrated the person that I was and the woman that I was, the marketplace leader that I was. They celebrated me, they applauded me. But inside, I was struggling to find the meaning.
All right, my name is Sylvia, as you rightly called out, Sylvia Mulinge. I am a mother of two, have two wonderful children who I absolutely love. I work in one of the companies here in Kenya, Safaricom. I've been working there for the last 14 years or so, and previously I used to work in Unilever. I'm passionate about life, I'm passionate about women, I'm passionate about leadership, and I am also a woman of faith, which really kind of guides a lot of the things and views that I have in life.
This is a fantastic opportunity for us to be able to show what we are made.
Every day I wake up to serve customers. My title in Safaricom is Chief Customer Officer, so obviously that title captures what it is that I do. And my entire world revolves around identifying what are our customers' needs, the ones they know and the ones that they do not know, and then finding out how best do we meet them in a way that creates a win for the customer as well as a win for the company. That's where the true magic lies, as we like to say. And then, of course, going above and beyond in terms of just reinforcing what the brand stands for in the lives of our customers. Our brand essence is all about everything we do it for you. So how do we bring that alive? And therefore, if you look at what I handle every day, it involves around stuff to do with our brand, marketing, sales and distribution, customer experience, the experience that we deliver for you when you walk into our retail shops. I'm also responsible for running the overall consumer business, among many other things.
Content is king. I have a friend who likes to say that content is king and video is King Kong.
Leadership is a privilege, right? And it's therefore something that I'm greatly honored to do and to even serve in the company that I do and in the capacity that I do, because there are people who are constantly looking up to you to give them guidance, to work with them through certain challenges that they have. And there's nothing as fulfilling and rewarding when you win together to see the outcome that you've ultimately delivered. So for me, my greatest legacy will be around the outcome of my children, because that's something that, as a mother, I am totally responsible for. Nobody else is responsible for that in the whole wide world. And I view myself as a steward over their lives. I mean, their lives are in God's hands. I just kind of steward them as He leads me and guides me. So balancing it all, I don't think there's, I don't ascribe to work-life balance simply because I have probably never been able to achieve it. And if there's somebody who has found that formula, they can tell me, is that you make time for the things that are important to you, right? And for me, my family is important, my faith is important, my work is important, and the community that I work and live and serve in is also important. So then I prioritize and make my choices based on that. I think first of all, just living from the perspective of, if you look at my social media handles, I say I live for the audience of one, right? So in that sense, then I have a comfort in knowing that I may not know what is there tomorrow, but I know that He will shepherd me. So that's why my faith becomes then very important. So when I was in high school, or when I was even in university I studied food science. I did well in University of Nairobi. I went to work in Unilever, but I thought I would go and work in the factory, never got there. Started working in the commercial side of the organization, and that's kind of what has shaped my career path since then. Did I know I would become director when I was young? I became director in Safaricom when I was 34. No. Was I working towards that? Not really. I think for me, the principle of my life is, in every space where I'm planted, how do I maximize the value that I bring in that space, right? Am I giving it my very best, right? Am I applying the very best of what I have learned, whether through reading, through experience, through what I've learned from watching others? Am I bringing all that and integrating it into a whole that then makes it meaningful? I think what you then find is that when you bring the very best of yourself, and one phrase I like to use is, am I the best version of me? Because the best version of me is not just best version of me in one lane, not career-wise. Am I the best version of me spiritually, physically? I'm very passionate about fitness, by the way. Am I the best version of me emotionally, mentally, how I engage? When you bring all that, they form the ingredients to create a life that is constantly expanding before you. And then you also learn to travel light, because then if I was very fixated on this is what I want to be, this is where I want to go, this is the path I want to follow, then you don't leave room for life to kind of expand. When I was in university, mobile phones and telecommunications were just getting started. I mean, who knew that I would be working in a telecommunications company? If you had asked me then, I would ask you, what's telecommunications? What is it all about? Do you need to be an engineer and all that stuff? So I would not have allowed that opportunity to open for me. So a common phrase that I use many places is that we live our life forwards and we understand it backwards. Just living in the moment and giving that moment the very best has really helped to work for me. Yeah. I think the way I would frame that is, if I look at women, especially probably because of the role that I play, the leadership role that I play, I see many women, when we start off, even when you look, for example, in the company that I work for, when you look at our male and to female ratio, at the bottom kind of management positions, not the very senior ones, you'll find that we have a 50-50 balance. But the higher you go, the fewer they become. And I'm privileged that to work in an organization where we have prioritized and said we want to have more women in management, senior management. Right now we're at about 32%. We want to get to 50% in the next couple of years. And I can't wait to see that. I know companies like Unilever globally have already been able to attain that. So then I asked myself, for the path that I have gone ahead, how can I help more women to also come up? And you find that there are many things that restrict us as women, mainly because of the way we've probably been socialized from the backgrounds we've come from. What is the role of a woman? How far can you go? Then the roles that we also have to play in society. You're a woman leader, at the same time you're also the mother at home, at the same time you're also a wife. You need to make sure that you're also supporting your husband in all the things that he needs to do. So then how do you bring all that and still ensure that when you sit across the table with a man who does not have the additional responsibilities that you have, you're still able to deliver as effectively, if not better? And I think that has to be something that you have to deliberately think about. If you assume it, you're dooming yourself to failure. And therefore, for me, I have found that there are choices you have to make, choices in terms of what can I outsource, what is the ecosystem that I will build around myself to support me, how will I reorganize my life so that my life at home, which is also as important to me as my life at work, doesn't suffer. And sometimes when women feel that they have to make those choices, they sometimes feel like they're as if they're going to do it at the expense of another. So if the only role that I play is to tell somebody else, this has been my story, this is what I have done well, this is where I've made mistakes, this is what I've learned from those mistakes, and then how I've reshaped my journey. If I'm able to do that, then I have encouraged one more woman to go higher up the ladder until we ultimately get to that 50-50 balance that we seek to do. I think you also cannot say that you're, even as an organization, that you're representative of your entire customer base if the face of that customer base is not equally represented in the boardroom or in the C-suite. So we can't say we are a company that is also that is having all Kenyans. All Kenyans is also made up of, is it 49% or 51%? Can't remember the statistic. I think there are slightly more men. So 49% are women. And yet we don't have that same representation in our company. So who is speaking for them? So if we have to create a company that speaks for society, then we have to ensure that we are also, even from a management perspective or a leadership perspective, also representative of the face of the communities and customers that we serve.
I was always second, but I did not lose hope. No human is limited.
audition, it was no. I said, one day I'm gonna have my own TV show. Unaambiwa manozi nyingi mpaka unaanza kuona kama you're a failure. Then you meet one person and change your belief.
So I read somewhere a quote, which I'll try to paraphrase, where somebody once said that it takes enlightened men and courageous women to change the world and even change the statistics that we see. And for me, what does that mean? It means that, first of all, men have to be enlightened enough to know that we need to create more room for women. It's the female expression and what they bring to the table, right? There's a reason why God did not create everyone male or everyone female, and He created as male and female. So there are certain aspects that women bring, there are certain aspects that men bring, and together we create a beautiful whole. Though even everyone in their own unique ways also are whole in themselves. But once that space has been created and room has been made, as you have rightly said, then you have to step up. And I think the thing that I find mainly limits us as women is courage, right? And the thing about life is that your life will expand or contract based on your level of courage, right? Are you courageous enough to believe that you can? One thing that I really admire about men is that men, when they have 60% of it, they go. Even 50 or 40, you know, that level of courage of, I can do it. And you normally see it in interviews. When women apply for roles, they want to make sure that I have everything. I have all my certificates in order. I have all the credentials that I've been asked for. So I want it to be at 90%, if not tending to 110%, for it to be perfect. Men, as long as they have 50% or 60% of it, the rest they will fight it out in the interview room. What is the difference? Just the level of courage, right? And for me, even when I look at my own career and the various transition points that I found myself in, I really thank God because He gave me the courage to believe that I could do it. When I went to Safaricom, I didn't study anything to do with telecommunications. All I knew was marketing. And I think for me, when I sat back, the key thing that I encouraged myself with was to say, at the end of the day, these customers who are buying airtime are the same ones who are buying sunlight, which was a product I was responsible on the other side. So it's the same customer mentality, just a different product. That's how I give myself that courage. So I think as women, we have to learn how to dial up our courage. We have to learn how to support one another, right? Because it is sometimes unfamiliar terrain, and if somebody has gone ahead, how many other women are you actually reaching back and telling them, you know, I have surveyed the terrain. It's not as bad as you think. Come on, I think we can actually do it. So if we had a lot more of that, encouraging each other, sharing our stories, sharing our scars, because sometimes making some of these calls can come with some scarring. Men have a greater resilience to be able to handle some of the brutality that you can find going up that corporate ladder. Women, it probably hits us more because we are a lot more probably emotional in terms of how we take in responses, and therefore you get a lot more scarred. So how do you learn how to travel light? How do you learn how to journey a life where you always see the sunny side up of everything? It requires us to share those experiences, and I think that then is what will enable a lot more ladies and those who are younger than us to actually make the venture and get into those C-suite and leadership positions.
By saying Nawe Kila Wakati, we're making a pledge to work with Kenyans to celebrate their optimism and their resilience and to inspire hope for the future.
So one of the things that I know is that life is made up of moments and choices, right? And those moments sometimes may come framed as challenges, as you've rightly called out, or they may come framed as opportunities. And you have to be mentally resilient and have a very strong foundation within yourself to be able to tackle any challenge, right? And to address it in such a manner that you're able to scale it. I think for me, when I look back at my journey, especially in growing in my career, there have been very many challenges of bias of people who think that you're not enough, or people who think you're too young, or even people who think that you're probably not schooled enough, right? So how then do you take that which they're giving to you and kind of ferment it into something that gives you energy to be able to scale that challenge? The other thing, of course, is that in this digital world that we live in, you find that every person has gotten a voice on the digital platform. And inevitably you'll find that people I think Kenyans, we are really passionate about the things that we believe in, but when we choose to believe something and it's probably completely misinformed, people don't know how to suspend judgment. I think has been also another challenge for me. At least, let me not say all people, because that's then very broad, but I've come across instances where people have made judgment calls probably on me without having the full information, right? And when you look at that and you say, if only this person knew what it is that they were talking about. So, but then how do I take that in, right? Because it's happening within your environment. I can't fault them because they're probably being carried by the wave of what everybody else is saying. And I can't really control what it is that they say, but I can control what is my response to it. And therefore that requires you to have a very strong knowledge of who you are. It requires you to have a very strong knowledge and confidence in the life that you have lived. I personally really believe in living a life of integrity, a life that is empathetic, right? Because you never understand people's circumstances and where they're coming from. So that has kind of helped to frame even how I lead as an individual. The other thing is also about learning to be courageous and having courage of conviction behind the things that I believe in. And then for the few that I have found I have resonated with, whether as life companions or as friends, there are not many, there are few, being fiercely loyal to them and supporting them through whatever it is that they do. I think those things have kept me authentic and true to myself.
The critical thing as a company is to ensure, first of all, we build the right networks. We then ensure that the propositions that we avail are offering profitable value to our customers.
Some of my highlights have been, well, my greatest highlight is being a mom. I mean, that's fun every day. My children are, as I said earlier, my greatest joy. They are my companions in this life journey. So I love them. My daughter has a huge zest for life. My son is a lot more calmer, and he has a very ironic sense of humor. So he's always, I just love engaging with him. Career-wise, I've had a couple of highlights in terms of my growth, whether I was working in Unilever or even working in Safaricom, for which I am grateful for. But I think for me, the way I measure my life is, have I been able to bring, can people say that because Sylvia was here, things changed? And that can be in big moments or what are not perceived as big moments. The other day I was in Oloitoktok because I serve also as a Safaricom Foundation trustee. And there's a project there that we're doing with the women and youth in terms of empowering them through leveraging technology in agriculture. And working with them through the dusty farms and seeing what the possibilities are, that's a highlight for me, because that's probably something that they would not have been able to achieve if we didn't do it with them. Going out into the market and seeing how our technology has transformed lives. I think I measure my highlights based on the impact that I've had on people. And I hope even from when it's all been said and done, when I leave career or even when I'm gone from this earth, people, when they come to my funeral, they will come and say that this was a life well lived because it impacted so many people. And there will actually be evidences and infallible proofs of people's lives that are impacted because I lived. So for me, my view is I live life from a legacy mindset. And that helps me to kind of make the trade-offs that I need to make, draw the boundaries that I need to make, because I know at the end of it, my life's purpose is what will live beyond me when I'm gone.
What would become of me when I was gone? Because the reality that we all confront is that one day we will be gone.
I personally believe that a life well lived is a life that is lived for others. So whether it's in my role as a mom, in my role as a leader, in my role in community, in being a friend to those I'm privileged to have them call me as their friend or who are my friends, I think I want my legacy to be that her life was well lived because she lived it for others beyond herself. Yeah.
You probably are thinking many different things in your head. Or you have, but people never raise their hands. And I'm not forcing you to ask a question, but I just want to ask you, why don't you have a question?
I'd say seek progress, not perfection. There's a friend of mine I was talking to yesterday, and I was telling him, you know, you're always telling me I'm OCD. I don't believe I'm OCD. I pursue excellence, right? And I believe that everybody has an opportunity to be able to, in whatever it is that you're doing, to live a life that is in constant pursuit of excellence. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is to be able to say that yesterday I was here, tomorrow I have made 2 or 3 more steps in the direction that I want to go.
There is a funny Irish proverb that I had once that says that no matter how tall your grandfather was, you have to do your own growing.
First of all, I'd tell you that you're enough. Everything that you need to make your life successful, you already have it, right? But the thing about life is that it constantly unfolds as you keep on moving, right? You become excellent at one level. So as I said, I'm passionate about fitness. So the way I was doing, let's say, a deadlift 3 months ago is not the way I'm doing it now. Still the same movement, but I'm constantly improving how I'm executing that movement. So you are enough. And everything that you need to make yourself successful, you already have it. God has already given it to you. But now once you know that, then I'd like to probably quote something from the Desiderata, which I read. If you don't mind, I can read it for you because I don't want to mess it up. And it says, be gentle. So I'll address you, so Bilha. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself, all right? You're a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars, and you, Bilha, have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive Him to be, and whatever your labors and aspirations, in the noisy confusion that life is, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it still is a beautiful world. So remain cheerful, Bilha, strive to be happy.
I'm running a race, and that race has a finish line.
So yes, I work out. I went to Harvard last year on a short-term course, and you know, Harvard have a case study methodology, and I came across this organization called CrossFit. We actually studied it in class. Then when I came back to the country, I found CrossFit was here, and I joined up. I have a fantastic coach. It's called Coach Wilson, and I just started doing CrossFit. And for me, I think the reason why I'm excited about it, why it really drives me, is because, first of all, it's very good for my mental. I live a very busy life, so that's a space that I'm able to kind of push myself mentally and begin to see that there are things that I possibly could not do before that I'm now able to do. The other day, I took on a challenge to do a rope climb, and I managed to do that after 7 months though, but I finally did. Now I'm trying to do handstands, and I know my age is not on my side, right? But you know, just the possibility that if you truly are a person who believes in human performance even at a leadership level, human performance even at an individual level in terms of me being a mom and seeing what my kids can become and the possibilities that exist. Fitness is one of the best expressions of bringing out the possibilities in human performance. When you look at what Eliud did in Vienna, that is the ultimate in terms of human performance, and something that the whole world looks at and celebrates. So for me, I do it to kind of inspire myself to a higher level of performance and just build the energy that I need to make my day great. And in the process, I've also made very good friends, so I'm grateful. To all the women out there is you're enough. Embrace your journey, embrace your process. embrace your lessons. Be diligent about disciplines of reflection, journaling, it helps. Prayer, it also helps. And with that, build the best version of you.